Hello. No, I hated that. Hi.
Wait, I love your enthusiastic hello, and then you hating it 2 seconds later. Hello.
I think it's very fitting. I just hate my voice, so.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly,
I
actually.
know, right?
Listening to you makes me sick.
Likewise.
Thank you. Is this our intro?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Because why redo it?
We're professionals.
Obviously.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
It's been a while since an actual real episode and not whatever the last one was.
Yeah, so since we did a review of Hamilton 2, we thought we would today do a review of the actual Hamilton. Just kidding. No.
Imagine how boring that would be, though.
We've still never seen Hamilton. That was not real.
Nope. Yeah, just in case you didn't get the memo, that was a joke.
Imagine people, if anyone listened to it, thought it was legit. I know that we won if anyone Googled Hamilton sequel.
That's true. That is true. We might be the first thing that comes up.
Oh my god, why is that so funny to me? Why are we so stupid?
Yeah, that's our definition of humor.
That was our peak. We're making this episode to say that we're done.
Yes, we're quitting. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Just kidding. What are we talking about today?
Today, we are going to be talking about sexuality.
Ooh.
A big topic. I don't know why I said it like that.
That was like kind of haunting. Serious, very serious topic. But honestly, this is going to be like more serious than probably most things that we'll talk about, right? Not like sad serious, but just like real.
Exactly. And you know what? It needs to be said.
Specifically, we're going to talk about when we knew that we were not straight.
Yes.
Instead of just calling this a podcast about bisexuality, because we want clicks.
So if you didn't get it from that, yes, we are both bisexual.
Aw, look at us go. This podcast is for the gays.
It is, but straights stay, because we'll have words for you too.
What kind of words? Angry.
Harsh ones.
Jokes. Anybody's welcome here in our circle. How do you want to start this off? I feel like this is going to be more of just like a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, as it should be.
Right. No scripts here.
Are we ever really that planned out?
Literally never.
No. So maybe we just start it with saying like when we knew and stuff. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
I think you should start. Like, start with not only like what time in your life, but specifically if you know what age you were.
Okay. So the earliest back I can really remember is probably about 5th grade. So how old were we in 5th grade? Like 10?
10, like 9, 10, yeah.
Yeah. So the first age I really remember is around 10. The earliest memory I can really have of it is that I would just look at guys and I would be like, you know what? They're attractive. But then I would just be like, I would just like chalk it up to, oh, you know what? It's just admiration.
Right.
Like, it's nothing more than that, right? But then I was like, wait, you know what? I kind of see them like how I saw girls. And then like that was very confusing, but obviously I was not ready to admit that to myself. And also, I don't even know if I fully understood the concept of bisexuality at that point. So it was kind of just a thing where I was like, oh my God, am I gay? And then I was like, I can't be. That's not right. Because
that's not right.
Well, because, you know, like everybody always, it had it more so back when we were 10. It's still around, obviously, but it was a little bit more, rather a little worse then. So then like I go through 5th grade and like whatever. Then 6th grade, it obviously gets like a little more prominent, but then like I try to suppress that with like, you know, those elementary, middle school relationships. And I was like, you know what? I'll just dabble in these and just pretend like I'm not questioning anything. And then 7th grade is really when it kind of just all started like making sense. And I kind of confronted it around 7th, 8th grade. But even then, it was still like the same like middle school relationship type beat. I'm not gonna tell anybody really, but like I'll think about it in the back of my mind and start following people, or rather guys that I find attractive on Instagram. Because like, you know,
you want to see something, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, I still didn't really admit it to myself. I would say it was either 8th grade or freshman year, 9th grade of high school, where I really like admitted it to myself. When I was like, you know what? What's the point in even joking around anymore? I clearly like guys in some way, whether that be just them, like, you know, maybe I am gay. I don't know. And then I would really say so around 9th grade is when I really was starting to understand more about sexuality and everything. And I realized that, oh yeah, I can be bisexual. Like that's a thing that I can be. Like there are people that like more than one gender, and that's a thing that I can also do. So then around that time was when I admitted to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm bisexual. Am I going to tell people that? Maybe not for a little while. But obviously that didn't last very long, because I think around that same time is when I told you and like everybody else that I'm really close friends with. And then the rest is history.
I feel like what you mentioned before, how you kind of like play it off as, oh, it's just appreciation or it's just admiration. Like it's not attraction. Yeah. I feel like that's such a big part of coming to terms with your sexuality. You just kind of like play it off in some kind of way. Like, oh, I'm just feeling silly.
And you then try to act like it's anything else but that.
Right. And the thoughts like don't go away. One day you'll like look at someone and be like, oh, that's interesting. And then you're like, oh no, it's just in the moment. And then it just like every single day you're like, wait. Like in your case, for example, maybe one day you're like, oh, I could be attracted to guys, and then you're like, no. But then like it never leaves your head. So you're like, this is a thing.
Yep. And then also it was like just getting bullied and being called gay and like slurs every day. You're like, you know what? Are they right?
Oh my god.
So then you like also struggle with that, and it's like, you know, well now it's like, you know what? They had a point.
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
First of all, obviously. Anyone who ever bullied you, I would like a sheet with their full names and addresses.
I could give it to you because I know who they are to this day.
Oh my god, imagine this is like a call-out podcast.
I also just don't care.
Oh, like, I hate kids. People are so mean.
Yeah, middle school is really bad.
And that's why people take longer maybe to like come to terms with their sexuality or like accept it within themselves, because people around them are just so awful. You're being told that there's something wrong with you. So how could you possibly be okay with yourself if you think that there's something wrong, you know?
You hit the nail on the head.
So you said the first time you realized you were like 10. That's crazy.
Looking back, it was that young, but obviously at the time I didn't see it that way.
Right. You were just like, oh, that's weird. Anyway. Is this my story now?
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like mine is pretty different in the way like it's much later, you know? So I was always like aware, obviously, that people could be gay or whatever, bi. Like I always knew that. When I was like really little, my brother came out to me as gay, and I was like really, really little, and like I wasn't phased at all. I was like, cool, you know? So I always knew it was a thing. It's not like I had to like look up what it meant or anything like that. But like I always just considered myself to be straight, whatever, you know. And then I can't really even pinpoint a certain thing. But I don't think I've ever even talked about this. So this is going to be
I'm excited.
So, listen, a lot of people discover things about themselves by using social media.
Yes.
And I remember when I was like, I want to say it all became a thought in my head when I was like 16. So like, again, much later than most people, I think, at least. And oh my God, this might be weird, but we're going all in, you know, this is a confessional period.
Yes.
For us. So I had this Twitter friend.
Ooh.
And she was a girl. Names will not be named, although I haven't talked to this person in so long. And I remember like, you know, just like standard internet friend kind of thing, you know, like talking all the time, FaceTiming and stuff like that. Like exchanging letters and stuff. And that happened for like a couple months, whatever. And then she said to me one day like that she had a crush on me.
Oh.
And she was like, it's so sad though, because you're straight and like it's, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, pretty unfortunate, right? So whatever. It wasn't a thought in my head after that. And I don't even know, this was like junior year? Was 16 junior year?
I think yes.
Because I don't think it was earlier than that. I think it was like junior year and then like maybe bleeding into senior year or something like that.
It was definitely, I think, early junior year.
Right. So that's like when I knew this person and then whatever. So one time, I remember this memory so vividly in my head. It's like I can see it right now. And it's just like, I don't want to say like epiphany, but I'll explain. So I was sitting on the bus on my way home, you know, chilling, listening to some music. And then I got like a thought in my head or like a feeling. And it was like that I had a crush on somebody. But I was like, I don't know who, you know, no one in my real life. Like, I don't. And I was like, oh my God, it's like my friend, like this girl. And then I was like, oh my God, wait, what? Because again, I had considered myself straight for so long. I just hadn't thought about it. And then I was just kind of spiraling in my head because I was like, what? What's up? What is that? Huh? So then I was kind of trying to play it off like, okay, this is just like a one-time thing. I don't know, you know, like this started like a snowball effect of, huh? So from there, I would think about it a lot, but not really like, you know, too much. I would just be like, yeah, I have feelings for this one girl, but maybe that's it, you know, maybe whatever. And then now let's say like it's senior year or whatever. I don't talk to this person anymore, but I was like, that was weird. That was a thing that I can't really ignore. So at one point, oh my God, it got to like me thinking about it every single day because I was like, I know what you mean. Is she, you know? So then this is so stupid, but oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But I would like take online tests. Like, what's your sexuality?
I did the same thing though.
And it goes like kind of deeper into like internalized stuff because this is literally what the tests would be like. It would be like, are you attracted to men? Yes. Are you attracted to women? I'd be like, yes. Could you see yourself romantically involved with women? And I'd be like, yes. Then I'd still be questioning, like, I wonder what results I'll get. Like, girl, it's right in front of you. Yep. What do you mean?
I would just lie on the test, and then I would be like straight, and I'd be like, yep, you're right.
But then, so for so long, and I think like you even know this because like when I first even mentioned it to you guys, I said like I was pansexual.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you about this, so I'm happy you brought it up.
Yeah, and I think I would use that because to me, pansexual was more vague, you know? It was just like, oh, it doesn't matter what gender the person may be. It's just the person, like anybody. Yeah. And I was comfortable with that because I was like, okay, that's true, you know, still true, but I don't need to get specific enough. You know what I mean? I feel like it was just me being scared to say like, yes, I am attracted to women too. You know what I mean?
You didn't, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you didn't switch the label from pansexuality to bisexuality to please others. Like, I'm just making sure that it was for your own sense of identity and not just so other people understood it better.
Yes.
Okay,
so
great.
Like, right. So, I mean, like, because I followed some people on Twitter that said that they were pan, and I was like, okay, makes sense, cool. And I still identified with it in some sort of way because, like, you know, I could be attracted to anybody. But I think pansexuality focuses a lot on like gender not being a factor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that was, like I said, just me being like a little too scared to admit that like specifically, like, yes, I am also attracted to women, you know?
I see.
And then another big thing of why I never really did that, like said that I was specifically also attracted to women was because, and this is so dumb, like I would never think this about anybody else. Again, it's just like internalized garbage. But I've said this to you before, but just to repeat, like I see myself as a very feminine person, and I'm comfortable with that, and that's how I identify, and that's how I want to be seen. And I was just afraid that if I like expressed the fact that I was also attracted to women, that people would see me like, I know it's so stupid, but like less feminine just because of like stereotypes of whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'll keep it vague. Like pansexual, I'll keep it at that.
Yeah, I understand.
And then I was just like, as time went on, I was like, you know what? Bisexual is like what I feel. It's right, you know?
Yep. That I feel the same way, because even there was a period of time where I was like, oh my God, I'm just gay. Like, I can't hide from this. That's it. And then, but calling myself that didn't feel right. It didn't feel, I don't know. It was still that period of time where I was like, bisexuality, I don't know about that. You know, just also internalized garbage. So then once I like started calling myself bisexual, it was just an immediate like snap. That feels right.
I don't even remember when I started to like firmly consider myself like bisexual. It just like kind of slowly transitioned into that.
I think it was more within the past 2 years.
Yeah, very recently, like because and also for so long I just kind of kept it at no label, just like because I firmly believe, and 100% it's true, like you don't need a label. You don't need to, you know, like smack a label on yourself and that's it. You don't need a name for it. And I firmly believe that, but for myself, just to kind of understand, I wanted to, I guess, fit into a category just so I could like see it in front of me and be like, okay, that's me. Sometimes it just, some people love labels because of that. Some people don't, because, you know, it's like more freedom to just do whatever you want. And I don't know, it just at one point just made sense.
Yeah. I had been wanting to ask you about that for a while, but I didn't know when to bring it up or if you even wanted to talk about it, because it's not really a big deal. And then once you just started calling yourself bisexual, I just understood that and was like, okay, sure.
You could ask me that anytime.
I know,
why
but
would you need the right time?
It just felt like I don't know, the conversation never really came up. I wouldn't just want to say it out of nowhere, because I didn't know if you were still like,
what are you?
I don't know, having identity problems, so I didn't want to bring it up.
I was for a while, but you know, like you said, like the last like 2 years. Oh my God, I forgot to mention something.
Go for it.
I don't want to control this whole conversation.
No,
Have I
you're
been
not
talking
at
too
all.
much?
No.
Oh my God. I need to do some research while we're at it, just so I can see when this premiered, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Oh my God. You'll know. You already know.
Yep.
Hold on.
You know.
Okay.
That was a moment.
Okay, right. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so listen, another pivotal moment where I was like, this is it. This is something. Yes. I love having a great vocabulary. This sounds really intellectual.
I used like 30 times already, so it's fine.
Again, we're professional. So this was 2016. I just checked the date when it premiered, so it makes sense.
Yes, it certainly was.
So I was watching Black Mirror with my family, and this is what is it, season 3?
Episode 4, I believe.
Yes, exactly. I was watching San Junipero with my family.
The best episode, by the way.
Oh my God, the best episode ever. I'm gonna cry. Okay, anyway. So that's about 2 women falling in love, right? And oh God, I'm gonna cry right now. At the end of the episode, I was sobbing hysterically, like guttural sobs, gonna vomit on my shoes, bawling, and my family was just like, was she okay? Because that was just like, you know, when something just clicks like that and you see it in front of you and you're like, yep, yeah, and now we have the logo from the show tattooed on our ankles. So
yes, we do, because that's how much the episode like means to us, and that's how great it is in our opinions.
And I feel like, you know, whenever someone asks us like why we have it, we're just like, oh, it's good. It's a good episode. We love it. But I feel like, you know,
it goes deeper than that.
It goes way deeper than that. It's just, it's so meaningful, and that's why I think it's close to my soul in that way.
It's probably my favorite episode of television of all time.
I rewatched it like a couple months ago, and I was again just sobbing. Like I think every time. Remember when we showed it to Sam and Matt and they didn't cry? We were like, why?
Sam and Matt are our friends. They did not cry. We were crying though.
If you watch that and don't cry, how? Bestow upon me the strength that you have.
People don't get it.
So I wanted to ask you a question because I know I've had this experience.
Okay.
But I want to know if you do too. So has anyone ever like, I don't know how to word this, but has anyone ever like labeled you at one point like as a certain sexuality that you aren't and like you were uncomfortable with it? Like maybe someone like mentioned you being straight or mentioned you just being gay without like asking you first, and then you're like, wait, no, that's not right.
Both have definitely happened. I feel like obviously the straight one happens more often because it's just the assumption, which it obviously shouldn't be, but it is the assumption.
Like, the default.
Yes, exactly. So there have been times where that, and at this point in my life, this is also, I feel like, a character flaw that I have. I try to go into most conversations with new people sort of already saying the fact that I'm not straight. I don't try to like shoehorn it in the conversation, but as fast as I can with somebody new, like I try to make it clear just so that they don't do what you were talking about before, because I hate when it happens. And then if, first of all, if somebody's homophobic and won't accept it, I want to know that up front so that I just don't talk to them.
Of course.
And then you have people just calling you gay, which I use as a blanket term. I'm sure a lot of bisexual people do. Gay is a umbrella term for pretty much almost everything under the LGBT community.
Yeah.
So whenever that happens, I do also try to shoehorn in the fact that, hey guys, I'm bisexual. But not like that, obviously, but I'll make some comment. I'll try to be funny.
I also think when it comes to men specifically, a lot of people can't fathom or like, you know, compute the fact that men who are attracted to men can also be attracted to women and vice versa.
Yes.
Like they think it's just impossible. Like how could that possibly be a thing? Or like, you know, any other genders. They're like, how can there be more than one, you know? Which is obviously stupid. There was this one time when I don't want to get into specifics because I feel like people who might listen to this might know the people involved. So let's be vague. Somebody was interested in me.
Okay, yes.
And they wanted to know if I was straight or not. And a friend of mine was like, yeah, she's like painfully straight. Oh my God, doesn't get more straight than that. And then I found out about that and I was like, no. And like, it's not their fault. You know, I had never said it before, but just hearing myself, like that's also one of the ways that I knew that I wasn't. Hearing myself labeled that way just gave me like a visceral reaction of like, no.
I did not know that happened.
I'll tell you who it was after, more specifically. Okay. Not that this is like juicy gossip, but just Anyway, that sounded like some gossip, but it was not. Yeah, it was just like my example of like hearing from somebody else how they saw me, and just that was like another indicator of like, okay, that's not who I am. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
The more you know.
But then you also have the whole stigmatization. Why
can't we talk?
I don't know, of bisexuality, where people will just think it's about threesomes, they're selfish, they're going to cheat on you, which is just absurd and ridiculous.
That's a big reason why this kind of is going to go into something that we mentioned that we would talk about later to each other when it comes to coming out. For me, I've never like sat down with anybody and said it. Like, I don't really care, you know, if you're curious, ask me. You know, I'm more comfortable talking about it like on the internet with like my peers and family, because I know family probably just won't understand about like bisexuality, you know what I mean? Like what you just said, like the stigma is like I feel like they just don't get it. So I don't have the need to be like to make a big deal out of it and be like, guys, you know what? And if that's like for you, if that's like your prerogative, then that's great. Go ahead and do that. And I wish you the best. But for me, I was just like, I don't really feel comfortable with that. If anyone, because they're just gonna assume that I'm straight anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they already do.
I pretty much feel the same way. I didn't make it really a big deal. Whenever my parents or my sister or somebody would ask, for a long time, I would say no. And then eventually one day I was just like, yeah, whatever. Which is a whole story in amongst itself. Yeah, that's all I got.
Feel free to tell it if you want to.
Oh, should we go into that right now?
If you want to.
We'll sidetrack a little bit, and I'll tell you the story of my coming out ? But also I don't like to label it as that. So me and my family were going to dinner at this restaurant that we had never been to. So we go there. The food's fine. Then I get my meal, and I'm eating it. It's so good. I don't remember what it was. It was some sort of pasta dish, and it had broccoli in it. I remember that because that's very important.
Very important detail in the story.
Yes. So I'm like eating, I'm moving shit around with my fork, and I'm like, this broccoli looks weird. Then I get to it, I uncover it a little bit, I get the little strand of pasta off, and I see eyes on my broccoli. And my first instinct is to push my chair back, and I accidentally hit into the table behind me, and I kind of feel bad for them because they got mad. But also, there was a bug in my food. Yeah, there ended up being, it was either a cricket or a grasshopper. And I noticed that after I had already eaten a little bit of it. So, anyways.
Your broccoli had eyes.
I bet people want to know where this is going.
So, like, wait, what story is this?
We end up leaving, obviously, because we did not want to really eat the food. Listen, things happen. I'm not really going to fault them for it, whatever. So I was still hungry because my family didn't have eyes in their food. So they got to eat. So my sister was like, why don't we go to maybe it was like a Japanese restaurant or something that was open late, but we were sitting at the table. Somehow a discussion sparked up between my sister and my parents about sexuality. Then once again, for the 300th time, my parents asked me, and I was just like, yeah, I'm bisexual. And they didn't hear me the first time, so I had to repeat it, and I was like, are you kidding me?
It's like the first time is hard enough, and they're like, wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't care anymore. I'm so over it. They were fine with it, like, whatever. But that's the story.
I love how that could have just went somewhere else. You're just talking about how your broccoli had eyes, and then you had to flee the restaurant. It's like, wait, when did you coming out?
It definitely could have been like a Lovecraftian monster origin story.
Oh my god. I thought you were just gonna like pull out your chair after you see the bug in your food and you're like, I'm bisexual, guys. Okay. That's a beautiful story.
Listen, and then I think one day I just told you guys over text. Because
you did.
I think somebody asked maybe, or maybe I just said it.
I pretty vividly remember you just saying it.
Okay. I remember being in the car when I said it.
Yeah, and we were like, aw, love you.
Yeah, obviously.
Cute. No, we were like, oh, that's disgusting. Oh my god. I feel like I don't remember. I like, also did the same thing, like just texting the group chat. Just like a little, like we give like updates. By the way,
like I think you definitely said it in person first.
Did I?
I think it was more of a thing where it was still the stage of being like, oh, you know, I'm not against having a relationship with a woman.
That's also something I was going to say. I've always been so just like, I can't explain it. Like, I don't know how I didn't realize earlier. I think it's, like I said, more internalized garbage, but like, I'd be like, yeah, I would, you know, be in a relationship with a woman. And I'm like, girl, open your eyes. Like, what do you think that means?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's when, I think you officially told us over text, but that was when like the inkling, the seed was planted.
And it's no surprise because like we've had conversations like that before. Oh my god, you know what's so funny?
What?
So for so long, like I just didn't mention it to anybody. Like the junior year, like I said, I was like 16 when it was like kind of sparking in my head, you know, like I said, the light bulb went off.
Yeah.
I would, oh my God, this is so funny. I would like listen to, what's that song by Haley Kiyoko? Girls Like Girls.
Yeah.
Like jam to that in the hallway and just be like, oh my God, like I'm gay. Like no one like just like a panic of like, oh my God, so like funny. This is like a thing. Like this is a thing now. There's like that moment when it becomes a thing. It's not just like a passing thought. It's like, you know, that this is something you have to confront. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that was like that time period. Oh my God, that's so funny.
I think I pretty much officially was out to everybody by junior year. At that point, I was just like, I don't care. I was kind of posting about it, not making like a big deal of it because I didn't want to, but it was just a stage where I was like, I'm comfortable enough with it. What are you going to do? Fight me? I'm stronger than you for sure.
What are you going to do? Fight me? I remember I posted on like my spam account, like
I remember that too.
A couple years ago, 2017, 2016 or something, like saying that I was pan and people were cute about it. And then I think like it just got to the point where I just didn't care, so I would just like mention the fact that I'm like bi.
I love how we did the same exact thing. I first posted about it on my Finsta
because like less like smaller audience, no one
and
really...
it's people that you actually like. So
yeah, like you know they're gonna be cool.
And then I posted about it on regular Insta, and people were cool. And then I only recently like archived that post because I was like, you know what, I don't care,
right?
But also that caption now, I still don't want it to be that big of a deal because that's not
right.
Some people do, and that's absolutely fine. But I just, at this stage, I was like, people know, so I don't need to keep that post up.
That's the same way that I feel. I remember there was this one time I posted like a pride thing. It might still be there. And I just like very vaguely mentioned the fact that I wasn't straight, like not really, again, like, you know, when you're like all apprehensive about it and you're like, I'm just gonna hint until people get it, and sometimes they just don't get it. I did something like that, and then it kind of got to the point where like nowadays I don't really care who sees it, even if I haven't told them. Like if they see it, then that's how they find out. I don't feel the need to like tell people in my life, like, by the way, like first of all, it's no one's business.
Exactly.
But then also like it doesn't bother me that people know. Like I posted this on my spam recently, like how I posted on Facebook the tweet about how like bisexuals are going to be annoying about the new Batman movie.
Yep.
And I posted it on my Facebook where all my relatives are, and it was like kind of weird, kind of scary, but no one even like saw it besides like Serena. Shout out Serena for liking my Facebook
friend of the show.
Yeah, so like at first I was really kind of like freaked out knowing that family might see stuff about my sexuality, but now I'm like, first of all, they probably don't even care. They probably don't even like, honestly, probably don't even like pay attention. And if they did, I don't care what they would think anyway.
That's the attitude.
So there's been some personal growth.
I feel like my family definitely knows. I've never obviously said it, but they should know.
Oh, your other family.
Yeah, not my immediate family. It's like all the cousins and shit. I don't care.
I mean, I still feel like a lot of family, even like close family, just sees me as like the straight one. And I don't think that they're ever not going to see me as that way because they have a lot of like, you know, they believe a lot of the stigmas like, oh, if you wear makeup and you wear dresses and you're feminine like that, or you're femme presenting, you're straight. Like, you know, that's that.
On the flip side of that, like how you said, do you think they'll only see you as the straight one? I feel like they'll only always see me as the gay one. And I think that's also another part of the stigma, because it's like when women say they're bisexual, a lot of the perception is just, oh no, they're straight, they're just experimenting. And then when men say they're bisexual, it's just like, oh, they're gay, they just don't want to admit it yet. It somehow always revolves around the man.
So this is like not really a tangent, like a random, not really, I think it fits. I was watching Ally McBeal a couple months ago with my brother, and there was this episode where so Ally McBeal's the main character, obviously, and this guy liked her, had a crush on her, asked her out, and then he told her that he was bisexual, and she didn't want to go out with him because she pictured him with other men and couldn't like fathom the fact that he could also be attracted to women. And it made me so angry. And I just don't understand how people can think that way. It's just so small-minded and frustrating, but that's a big thing of like why people just don't believe bisexuality is a thing, especially when it comes to like men or something.
And it's even within the community itself. Like other gay people, they also see it a similar way. Obviously not everybody. Obviously a lot of people are understanding, but there's still that own infighting within the community. And it's even more discouraging because you're just thinking to yourself, wow, even, you know, people in this community I'm trying to associate myself with don't accept me. So what does that make me?
It's also related to like if someone identifies as like bisexual or whatever and they're only dated or like spoken to people of opposite genders or whatever, then they're going to assume like, oh, they're just straight. They've never, you know, dated anybody of the same gender or, you know, something like that. I think when it comes to my family, I've only ever like spoken about guys. I've never mentioned like girls, for example. So they're like, well, how could you be bisexual if you know what I mean?
I feel the same way. I've only ever talked to them about women, but that was a very long time ago. I really talk to them about stuff like that because it doesn't make me comfortable as much as they would like me to. Sorry, but I just don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, it's just like myself. It's not anyone's business, like I said. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword because part of me like just doesn't want to talk about it because I don't want to make it a thing, whatever. But then I want people to know. The other day, I don't really remember what the conversation was or who said it, but someone was like, you know, down the line when you're married and you have a husband, and I was like, I was just like growling in my head, like, oh my God, just that box that you're placed in is just, I don't know. It's like, you're kind of stuck with that if you don't like really talk about it, but.
My parents, a lot of the time, are able to correct themselves now. They'll always just be like, whoever you end up with. And even if they don't say it, like my sister will correct them. And even now that I'm remembering, even some of my family says it, so I think they get it.
Oh, really?
I mean, obviously not everybody, but I think people get it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
See, like, I guess it just like depends on the person or like the family member.
Even then, a lot of people just won't understand it no matter what.
Yeah.
So you can try, but it's just a foreign concept to some people. So at that point, you don't owe them an explanation anyways. So whatever.
That's the bottom line. Like it doesn't involve them. So who cares what they think or what, you know, what they assume? It's not up to them. Something that makes it easier to talk about like your sexuality on like social media when it comes to like your peers seeing is that coincidentally, a lot of people that we went to high school with are now like openly a part of the LGBTQ plus community.
And it's kind of crazy. I feel like we definitely had like the highest percentage of LGBT plus people.
It's just like amazing. It just makes it so much like more comforting to know that, you know, there's so many other people like in your own community that, you know, is that like a stupid thing?
High school was terrible. Listen, it was bad. However, knowing that now makes it, in retrospect, seem kind of cool. Because even if they weren't out at the time, which, mind you, quite a few people were, but since then, a lot more people are. And it's just very cool to see people discovering themselves. And now they're sort of like, you know, in the club.
In the club. I remember when I first posted about not being straight, being bi. I don't know if I was like calling myself bisexual at the time, but I remember I posted something about like not being straight, whatever. And then someone DM'd me, or like multiple people DM'd me and were like, what? Really? And it's like, yeah, like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah, what? Okay, imagine being them. What reaction are you expecting? Like, what do you want? Don't be weird. Just be like, oh, that's cool.
That's just like is another reason why people maybe don't want to talk about it because people don't really like believe them, or they're like their reactions are just like, what?
Yeah, because they're like, we only know you as the straight girl. No way.
Exactly. It's like, well, you don't know me really at all, so why would you think that you knew me? I don't like being perceived, okay?
Neither do I.
Meanwhile, we just, like, had the most open, not vulnerable discussion, but, like,
it's pretty vulnerable.
Real. Yeah, like, this is stuff I've never talked about with, like, the public. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not particularly quiet about it, but I don't exactly put it out all the time.
Yeah, and, like, the details I've never shared with people really, like, when it came to I'm sure there was more details, like, that I'm forgetting, 'cause when you're questioning your sexuality, it doesn't just, like, last 2 days, I feel like. It's just this extensive period of, like, thinking about it constantly, you know what I mean?
Even sometimes still now, it just gets to the point where it's like, well, but obviously, I know. But there's just those lingering thoughts. And something else that bothers me is that a few things. Sorry to go on a tangent here.
That's
but the first of which is whenever you say you're bisexual and people are like, oh, you're 50% straight, 50% gay, or they'll be like, what percent straight are you? And
oh my God.
Sometimes when I was in the beginning of understanding like sexuality and stuff, I would be the one to make those jokes. And I would be like, oh, I'm like 50%, 55% straight. You can't measure it like that. It's constantly changing. One day you could be more attracted to one gender. The other day you could be attracted to another. It's just crazy. And then also, something I've noticed on dating apps is that when you put your bisexual in the bio or whatever, you will get significantly less matches. And
I've never like put it in the bio before.
I've tested it, and maybe it's just because I look like a skunk.
I will literally punch the screen and reach your house.
I have conducted my own little test, just being like, you know what? Changing nothing from my profile besides putting sexuality in there. I get significantly less matches, which, I mean, I'm not. Let me just preface this by saying I don't use dating apps seriously. It's like a game to me.
Right.
Is that bad to say? Whatever.
No, completely feel it.
So I'll get less matches, and specifically by, like, in my case at least, women. I see it more so, which is unfortunate, but
this is a case of biphobia, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, it's like what goes back to what I was saying before. I think some people can't fathom the fact that people can be bisexual and attracted to multiple genders. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, frustrating.
It truly is.
I also think it's maybe like it helps when other people hear how others came to terms with their sexuality, like hearing their specifics maybe helps them. I don't know. I think I really like to hear about that kind of stuff.
Me too. And I think it's really important to remember that everybody has a different story. It doesn't matter what age you are. Like you said, you were around 16. The first time I can recall, I was around 10 or 11. I've heard of people in their early 20s. There have been grown adults who have just decided to like really understand and dive deep into their own sexuality. Yeah. So really everybody is different. You don't need to feel like you're not validated just because your case is different than everyone else's, because it's very rare to find two people that are in two very similar situations.
Do you ever look back at like little things in your life and you're like, wait, that was a moment? I don't know. I think the only reason why I said 16 was late in the game. Like you said, you can be 65. You don't have to be a certain age. There's no limit, whatever. I just feel like I'm so used to hearing people's stories of like, oh, well, I was 5 years old when I knew or something. And I was like, well, I don't really know about that. But then I think about little things. Like when I was in kindergarten, I'm pretty sure I had a crush on this girl.
Ooh.
There was one time like when I tried to hold her hand and she was so weirded out and like ran away to the bus. And I was like, what did I do? Like you ever have like little moments like that in your head and you're like, wait a minute. Okay, moment.
Definitely. But also, I think our generation is definitely skewing towards understanding at a younger age, more around like their developmental ages. your young teen ages. But even then, it really doesn't matter. Like I said before, you can find out whenever you're ready, whenever you're comfortable.
It's still something that like kind of makes me nervous when I'm like talking to somebody, and you kind of like have to like weave in the fact that you're bisexual, and you're like just kind of, you don't really gauge how they're going to answer. But I can recall like the past few times I've had to do that, the reception was really good, and like it just makes you feel better about it.
Yes, exactly. I've gone through the same thing. A lot of the times I'll just be very upfront about it at the beginning. If I think the conversation is like good, I'll just say it straight up, and I'll be like, is this a problem? Because if it is, it's whatever.
Then see you later.
Yep.
Have a nice day.
It's always been, oh no, that's fine.
Thankfully. And it breaks my heart knowing that people don't have experiences like that. Yeah, so that's something that we're very fortunate to have experienced, like good reception to us talking about sexuality.
Important to bring up that we kind of we really got, I guess you could say, lucky.
And if someone is listening to this by chance, possibly, maybe, who has had bad experiences, listen, if you feel comfortable, talk to us about it.
You could hit us,
no matter who you are.
Whoa, you could hit us up at our Instagram. I stuttered again.
It makes me really sad knowing that people can't express themselves because they're afraid of how people are gonna perceive them. And listen, we love you.
Yes, Smooches. We do.
Thanks for listening to this.
Yes, if you sat through this far, thank you so much. We hope it helped. We hope you listened. We hope you listened.
I feel like it's gonna be we hope you even listened. I feel like it's gonna be kind of weird to like, not weird to like drop this, but I don't know. I feel like we talked about stuff that we've never really talked about with other people. Like we've talked about this with each other, most things at least.
Yes. There's very few I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I don't know. I've never really talked about it elsewhere. So that's fun.
It's gonna be cool.
Welcome to our brains.
This is how we operate. Our brains go crazy. That's why we went on 17 different tangents.
Also, we just can't speak.
That is true.
I need to expand my vocabulary. I'm watching Dawson's Creek. They say a lot of big words. Maybe I should pick up.
There you go.
I pick up a thesaurus. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much.
Hamilton 3 review comes out next week.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.